Talking about Man United trying to set standards. I know they've dropped off the last few years, but they're already now 6 points behind Man City. Goal difference is -2 for a Man United team that we keep saying, well, they've got some good quality players, but ultimately still not good enough.
But you just have to forget Man City. Are they just so far above the rest that you've got to set your mark somewhere else?
Well, if you drop your standards and start saying, well, we're happy to finish third or fourth or whatever, then I don't think that's good either. You got to aim for Man City because they're the best team out there. So that's got to be the standards for Man United. It has to be with the money they've spent, the squad they've got. Yeah, they've got injuries and they're stretched. But no, that's got to be the standard you're aiming for. It has to be.
Yeah, what Mikel Arteta's done here is raised this. You know, for many years, Arsenal were a club that talked about top four and that being success. What Mikel Arteta's done is start putting them into the category of potentially chasing Manchester City. You can't just accept, if you're Manchester United, that you'll talk about top four and that's fine. That's what depressing standards does, and that's what over the last 10 years has happened. Obviously, since Sir Alex Ferguson's left, we've got to a point now whereby you finish third and it feels like progression, whereas Mourinho finished second, Ole finished second, Van Gaal got in the Champions League. We've seen this before. You have to make that next step. Now, Erik ten Hag deserves time, but the structure at the club...
But why do you think the standards have dropped? Because some good lads in that dressing room at United.
Look, you'll talk about this... people will say the recruitment's been poor. People will say that the managers haven't settled in. People will say many, many things about the football side of the pitch. And it will always seem that I will continue to mention the owners. I will, because they're still messing around with this football club. And you imagine how unsettled it is behind the scenes. Imagine all the staff at the club wondering whether they've got a job in the next 6 months if new owners came. Imagine if the players are thinking, well, what will happen if new owners come in? Would they then go and spend money? You can imagine sort of if you're selling a business, it creates a real sort of unsettled environment everywhere, and it creates a toxicity that actually exists at Manchester United. Believe me, I know the people there. It exists, and the owners have created that. It's difficult to be successful when you've got so much uncertainty at the top of the club. Now, today, I thought Manchester United performed well for large parts of that game, and ultimately you can say that's nothing to do with the owners, but overall it's not a successful football club because of what the owners have done. They've literally depressed ambition. They've depressed ambition.
If you missed the story, there are rumours around that the Glazers are not about to sell Manchester United anytime soon, but you think they are?
Yeah, they are. It's just a game for them. They think it's a toy. They are. Of course they're going to sell. They're desperate for money. They can't even compete on FFP anymore. Manchester United are talking like they're a mid-table club when it comes to the transfer market.
But still, only Chelsea had a greater net spend than them this summer.
Oh, of course they should. Manchester United turn over £500 million. I mean, we're talking about one of the highest revenue-generating clubs in the world. So my point is, Chelsea, Arsenal, all these other clubs can sign big players. Manchester United are scrambling around on FFP. I know they've had issues with losses during COVID, and that could be thrown as an excuse. But the reality of it is, look, at the end of the day, the game today was a fantastic game of football, but it still won't change the fact that they've got an owners at the biggest club one of the biggest clubs in this country, the biggest club in the world, that are messing around with the football club. And I'm not going to stop talking about it because it's a massive problem.